What's up team, it's John with Beginner Trading, and today we are looking at the late day VWAP reclaim. This can be a super powerful strategy, and so make sure to stick around and watch to the very end of this video. Before we take a look at all of that though, if you want to know more about the VWAP and learn more, check out our advanced VWAP course. It's completely free and I'll include that link in the description. Before we look at the backtesting, be sure to beat up that like button for the homies, and with all that said and out the way, let's take a look. Okay, so as I said in the intro, one of the most powerful moves in any type of market is when a stock or security breaks over the volume weighted average price late in the day and starts to reverse with volume. If you can time this right and find these as they're moving, they can be some of the most powerful moves in the market, because the reversal pattern as it sets up throughout the day shows a lot of traders the momentum coming in, because if you can see a U-shaped breakout in a break over VWAP, it can be incredibly profitable if you trade it right. And that's what we're backtesting in today's video. Now, as always, we're testing both penny stocks, large caps, and ETFs like the SPY and Q to see which niche of trading works the best with this specific strategy. And for this individual one, we're going to look at the previous high of the day as a success level. And so if the stock reverses and breaks over the volume weighted average price after 12 p.m. with over 200,000 shares traded per minute and hits the previous high of the day or breaks over it, we're going to consider that a success. If the stock breaks over the volume weighted average price with good volume but does not reach the previous high of the day and then goes back down underneath the volume weighted average price, that's when we'll consider it a failure. That way we can really get a good judge of whether this actually works and whether it's going to potentially break previous highs of the day to be successful. And remember, the main strategy or setup that we're ultimately looking for here is a U-shaped breakout. And so ideally we want to see the stock drop for most of the day prior to the VWAP break that we're testing. We want to see kind of a U-shaped breakout where the stock opens up, gets really weak, and then reverses after 12 p.m. and then runs. And so that's what we're ultimately testing. Let's take a look at the actual back testing now. Okay guys, so when the backtesting was done, we tested penny stocks, large caps, and the SPY basically. And the first one we're going to talk about is penny stocks. Now with penny stocks, a pretty overarching theme every time I do backtesting videos is volume is usually king. The stocks that have the highest volume on that particular day usually fulfill better with all the strategies I test. This is pretty universal, and it's really important if you're going to be trading penny stocks as a whole, not just with this specific strategy, but broad strategy uses as well. You need volume. Volume has to be there if you want the patterns to fulfill. And if you think about the psychology behind it, it kind of makes sense, because without volume, you don't really have traders interested in what you're trading to fulfill the patterns. And so in this backtesting session, it was no exception. We had 12 instances where this strategy and setup showed up, and 9 of those were successful, giving this an accuracy rate of 75%. And this was pretty similar to the last strategy we tested in penny stocks as well. Kind of VWAP strategies sometimes will have similar accuracy rates, but yes, 75% here. Again, what I recommend looking for is a really obvious downward trend, and then you really do need volume. The volume I really look for this specific setup is at least 200,000 shares traded per minute. If it has at least 200K on the break over VWAP, then I'll consider it. And with that, if you can find some really obvious downward trends prior to the break, I think the more obvious trend, the better, because when you have a really obvious trend, it starts to break and other traders can see it more easily since it's so obvious, if that makes sense. And so waiting for a really obvious downward trend and then a pop over VWAP and then attacking that upward trend change makes a lot of sense here. And with the accuracy rate, again, as always, it might be something I add to my trading arsenal. Moving over to large caps, we tested Apple and Disney as always. Now with Apple, we had some mixed results. We had about 75% accuracy rates with these as well with Apple, but it only showed up about 4 times. And so it worked about 3 out of those 4 times, giving us a 75% accuracy rate. And I think this one did pretty well. It didn't show up a ton. And so the first thing I'm noticing about this specific setup and strategy is that it doesn't show up enough in the market to really be attacking it every day. You know, a lot of traders aren't going to be able to handle that because they want their setup to be there every day, and this might not be one of them. Still, at the same time though, if the market does start to rebound and starts to push up and Apple or Disney start to move up with it late in the day, then it might be a pretty easy thing to attack using the VWAP as the neutral level that you want to see it break over, kind of as that sentiment changing level, and you can kind of just wait for some really obvious downward trends in the market and then really push when we start to break over it, and especially when we start to test that previous high of the day. You know, I know that's something we tested in the last video as well, and again for this it was the same thing. If we can have a stock break over VWAP, start testing that previous high of the day and then continue, it can work incredibly profitably after 12 p.m. You just need to make sure you have volume here as well. With Disney, it only showed up 1 time, but that 1 time it did work. So it had a 100% accuracy rate, but it only really showed up once in the last 20 to 30 days. And so you really need that obvious downward trend and then the break above it, and it's not going to show up every day. The SPY actually was the most successful on this list, and it kind of makes sense because this is a setup and strategy that I trade, and I love trading the SPY, but it showed up 6 times in the last 20 to 30 days, and it worked 5 out of those 6, with only 1 of them failing, giving us an accuracy rate on the SPY ETF of 83%. Now again, it's not going to show up every day. If you can wait for a late day market rebound and then really push on that market rebound and attack that trend change, again, it can be really profitable. Very rarely does a stock or security push up over the VWAP with good volume late in the day and not maintain that trend for at least a decent amount of time. I would say at least 20 to 30 minutes. Again, can't guarantee these are always going to work. Of course, they will fail sometimes. I can't guarantee any of these setups or strategies will work, but this one was pretty successful. And so it's one of those ones where if you have the patience to wait for it, both in penny stocks, large caps, and ETFs, I guess, then you can make some money attacking this strategy. If you don't have patience and you want to see a setup show up every single day in the market so you can attack the same strategy every day, this one might not be the one for you. But if you have patience, which you should have as a trader, it can be pretty reliable if you spot it in the market. Anyways, team, that's it for this one. Remember, if you want completely free trading education, whether it's courses, all that good stuff, email, watch list, hit the subscribe button and check out the links in the description. You can become a member. Everything we drop is completely free. We don't sell anything. All the content we put out is free. We don't claim to be experts either. We're just a free resource and community. And so check all of that stuff out in the description. Good luck in the market, guys. Remember, I can't guarantee any of these setups and strategies will work for you. You always need to test them yourself because it really is based off of your own trading personality, whether these things will actually work. So good luck in the market, guys. Remember to beat up that subscribe button and like button for the homies, and we'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching, team.